Good morning, guys. In the last session, we have started our discussion related to SDLC, SDLC phases, waterfall model, agile terminology, and we need to understand how to work with Jira in the today's session. SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle. This SDLC represents end-to-end process involved in the development and delivery process. Okay, we have several phases in the SDLC, like gathering the requirements, analyzing the requirements, designing the project, project development, project testing, project deployment, project delivery, project maintenance. Like this, there are several phases available in the development life cycle. So by following all the phases, companies will develop and deliver software application to the client. Okay, in the SDLC, there are methodologies are available. The first SDLC methodology came into market, that is waterfall model. Waterfall model is also called as a linear model. In the waterfall model, all the stages will be completed one after other. It will move only in the forward direction. So there are some limitations in the waterfall model. We can move only in the forward direction. Client will see the project only at the end, and client involvement is very less in the project. Okay, so at the end of the project, if a client want to change something, that is not possible. Okay, so that's why this waterfall model is not recommended in the today's world. So how projects are developing in the companies nowadays? So that's where we are going to discuss agile model. Agile is an iterative approach to develop and deliver application to the client. In the waterfall model, it is a linear approach, whereas in the agile model, it is iterative approach. So agile is an iterative approach to develop and deliver application to the client. In the agile methodology, planning, development, testing, deployment is a continuous process. So multiple releases will be available. We are not going to deliver entire project in one shot to the client. Okay, we are going to divide our project into multiple releases, and for every release, the SDLC process will be available, and client involvement will be there in the agile methodology. When you go for agile methodology, requirements are not fixed and budget is not fixed. The client can change the requirements at any point of time. All right. Now, when we go for agile methodology, product owner will be there, scrum master, tech lead, and team members will be available. And terminology, backlog grooming, story points, sprint planning, sprint, scrum, retrospective, like this, terminology will be available. So as a software engineer, everybody should know how to work with agile methodology, because nowadays agile is trending in the software development lifecycle process. What is backlog grooming? Backlog grooming is a meeting to identify pending tasks in the project. So all the team members will join in the backlog grooming meeting. In that meeting, we will identify what all the pending tasks available. For every pending task, one story will be created. Story means a task in the Jira. Okay, task that we have to work is called as a story. For every story points will be available. Story points represents what is the duration to complete that story. So in my project, 3 points story means 1 day time to complete. 5 points story means 2 days time to complete. 8 points story means 3 days time to complete. Then what is sprint planning? In the backlog grooming, all the pending stories will be identified. In the sprint planning, we will prioritize the backlog stories to work. Okay, so there are 300 backlog stories available. Out of 300, which stories we need to complete first? That will be decided in the sprint planning meeting. Once sprint planning is completed, then sprint will be started. What is a sprint? Sprint is nothing but fixed set of stories that we agreed to complete in the sprint duration. Fixed set of stories that we agreed to complete in the sprint duration is called as a sprint. For every sprint, duration will be 2 weeks. So that is the industry standard. Then what is the Scrum? Scrum means a daily meeting to provide work updates to the Scrum Master. Every team member should join in the Scrum call to provide work updates to Scrum Master. That means which story we are working on, when that story will be completed, do we have any challenges in completing the story, do we need any help from the team to complete the story. All these things we are going to discuss in the scrum call. Okay, so this scrum call will be there every day for 15 to 30 minutes of time. Next one, retrospective. What is the meaning of retrospective? Retrospective is basically a review meeting to discuss what went well, what went wrong, what are the lessons we have learned, what are the improvements, any new ideas. Those things we are going to discuss in the retrospective. In my project, every 1 month retrospective will happen. That means for every 2 sprints, one retrospective will happen. Sprint duration, 2 weeks, that is the industry standard. Some people will manage that. They can customize as per their project requirement. Are you clear with this? What is SDLC? Software Development Lifecycle Phases. What is waterfall? Drawbacks of the waterfall. What is agile model? What is the terminology in the agile model? Agile model is one of the SDLC model, which is an iterative approach to develop and deliver software application. In the agile model, planning, development, testing, deployment, monitoring is a continuous process. The whole project will not be developed in the single shot. Project will be developed and delivered in the multiple releases. Those are called as sprints. Now, to manage the project work in the real time, we are going to use one tool called Jira. What is Jira? Jira is a software developed by Atlassian company. Okay, Jira software developed by Atlassian company. Software developed by Atlassian company. We have seen Bitbucket, right? Bitbucket also developed by same company. Jira, Bitbucket, both tools developed by Atlassian company. Jira will be used as project management tool. Jira will be used as project management software or project management tool. So what is the meaning of a project management? Creating stories, creating tasks, assigning the tasks, okay, generating reports, okay, bug reporting, generating the tasks, bug reporting, okay, project status reports, such kind of operations we are going to perform by using Jira. So Jira is very famous software in the software industry. So Jira is a software which is developed by Atlassian company. This Jira will be used as project management tool. So why we are using Jira? What we will do in the companies using Jira? By using Jira, we are going to create tasks. Tasks nothing but stories. Tasks nothing but stories will be created. Task assignment, which team member should work on the which story, that we will assign by using Jira. Whenever code is tested, if a tester identify some problem in our code, if a tester identify some bug in the code, then testers will report the bugs. That is called bug reporting. Jira is used for project management as well as Jira is used for bug reporting also. And by using Jira, we can check the status of the project. How many stories are available in the project? How many stories completed? How many stories pending? Which developer completed which story? That complete tracking will be available in the Jira. Jira is available in the community edition, trial version, and licensed version is also available. So here we can practice Jira. We can practice Jira software. We can practice Jira using trial version. In the companies, they will purchase the enterprise version of Jira to manage our project work. Especially when we are working with agile projects, agile methodologies, Jira will play very important role in the agile methodology. So in the agile methodology, project will not be delivered in the single shot. Project will be delivered in the multiple releases. For every release, planning, development, testing, deployment, delivery, review is a continuous process. So in which release we need to deliver which tasks? Who should work on which task? What are the pending tasks? What are the tasks completed? What tasks are in progress? Such kind of analysis can be done by using Jira easily. So Jira is a software developed by Atlassian company. So Jira will be used as project management tool. By using this Jira, we can perform below activities. Using Jira, we can perform below activities. So what are the activities? Creating tasks, nothing but stories creation, nothing but backlog stories that we are going to create, and assigning the story assignment to the people, and bug reporting, project status reports. Guys, now you understand what we can perform by using Jira. Could you please read these points once? Jira software developed by Atlassian company. Jira software developed by Atlassian company. It is used as a project management tool. Somebody is asking, can you share your screen now? Guys, can't you see my screen? Is my screen not visible? My screen is visible or not visible? Visible, na? Anybody who can't see the screen, please rejoin the meeting. All right. So you got the clarity. What is Jira? Why we need to go for Jira? Guys, you got the clarity. What is Jira? Why we need to go for Jira? Yes. Now, so Jira is used for project management. Let us log into Jira. Already we created account for Bitbucket in the Atlassian website. Log in with Atlassian account. All of you, can you open this URL in your system? Can you open this URL in your system? Are you able to open that URL? Yes. When you log in into that URL, guys, with your Google account, you can log in into that URL. So that means you are creating account in the Atlassian website. Using your Atlassian account, you can access Bitbucket software. You can access Jira software also. Because Bitbucket and Jira softwares both are developed by Atlassian company. So previously, we have practiced Bitbucket. Today, we are going to practice Jira. So once you open that, click on Jira software. It will navigate you to Jira website. It will navigate you to Jira. So in the Jira, you have the option to create the project in the Jira. So that means which project you want to manage by using Jira, that you can configure here. Can someone share the screen? I will guide you how to set up Jira project. Anybody join from laptop? Anybody who joined from laptop, can you raise your hand? Anyone joined from laptop, can you raise your hand in the Zoom? Shh. Come on, guys. Sharuk Sheikh. Hello, Mr. Sharuk. Can you unmute your mic?
Yes, sir. I had.
Yeah, hi, Sharuk. Did you join from laptop?
Yes, I had.
Okay, good, guys. So today Sharuk is going to present his screen. I will tell the Sharuk how to do the practice in the Jira. Observe carefully. Sharuk, could you please share your screen now?
Yes, sir.
Instead of I am doing the practice, I will see how Sharuk will practice in the live class now. How he, whatever the instructions I'm giving, he's going to follow. After the class, you should follow the same instructions to practice Jira. Jira is a mandatory tool. Everybody should know. Everybody should know.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Sharuk? Yeah. Go to Atlassian, get it free. I gave the URL in the chat box. Now, can you click on that URL?
Okay. Just
Go to chat. Yeah, I have given. Open that chat. Yeah, click on that URL. Yes. Now, you see here, when you click on here, you came here, our products. The first option is Jira software. Earlier, we tried Bitbucket. Now you can see Jira software. Click on the Jira software.
yes.
Yes. Now, he's trying to access Jira software. Click on Get It Free. Get it free. We are using trial version of Jira. Now, scroll down. Scroll down. Simply click on Next. Yeah. Jira software, it is asking your email. So give your email, your site name, give your name, any name, unique name you can give there. With that name, one website will be created. Jira. Yeah. Sharuk, kuch bhi. Give unique name. Uppercase characters are not accepted, sir. Only lowercase letters. Only lowercase letters. Just give shake 1, 2, 3. Something like that. One, two, three. Sharuk. Kuch bhi. It is fine. Shake 1, 2, 3, 4 is available. Click on agree. So with this, your Jira site is created. Simply click on skip question. Skip question. Skip. Now, one moment, your site is starting up. That means your trial version of Jira is getting started. Guys, I hope all of you able to understand how we are accessing Jira site. I gave the URL in the chat box. You need to click on that URL. Then you need to log in into that URL using your Google account. It will show the products. Now we are using Jira product from the Atlassian. Bitbucket and Jira both are developed by same company. Bitbucket already we used as a repository. Now we are using Jira for the project management. Yes, now for the Sharuk, Jira software is getting started. Okay, now here guys, there are 3 options available. Do you want to go for Kanban template or Scrum template or business template? We are going for Scrum template. Select the second one. Yeah. Click on next. Select the Scrum, not Kanban. We are working on the Scrum model. Then it is loading Scrum template. Yes, perfect. So here Scrum template is loaded. Can you click on explore by myself? That's it. Okay. Close the quick start and all. Now, so if you see here in the Jira dashboard, backlog is available, board is available, sprint is there, backlog is there, create issue option is available. You can create the project. Inside the project, you can create the stories in the backlog. Can you click on create option? Create button above. Create. Yeah. Click on create. So here directly it is asking what story you want to create. So what is the meaning of story, Sharu? Can you tell me what is a story?
Story is a task which need to be executed.
Yeah, story nothing but a task. So initially, where we need to create the stories? We will create the stories in the sprint, or we will create the stories in the backlog.
We will go to we'll create in backlog.
Backlog. What is meaning of backlog? Backlog nothing but pending. So go to backlog here. Close this story. Close this one. Yeah. Come down. Scroll down. Backlog is there. Under the backlog, currently any stories are available, or your backlog is empty?
It is empty.
It is empty. Now click on create issue. Now type create Git repository. Create Git repository for admin module. Create Git repo for admin module. So this is one pending story in our project. So we are developing admin module. For admin module, we need to create the Git repository. Enter. Enter. Yes. With this, one story is created. Now click on that story name. Click on the story number. Scrum 1 is available now. Yes. Now scroll down. Right side scroll down. When you scroll down, click on scroll down. Here,
Yes,
who created that story, and all that information will be available, and you can give story points also for that. You can give the story points also for that. So like this, can you create one more story in the backlog?
yes.
Create another story in the backlog. Create Maven project folder structure.
Sorry, sir. Can you repeat 1 second? Create
Maven
structure.
project folder structure.
Yeah.
Now guys, see here, Sharuk is created stories in the backlog. So here in the project, backlog grooming meeting will be conducted. In that backlog grooming meeting, all the team members will join and they will discuss what are the pending activities available in the project. For those pending activities, stories will be created. Now tell me, who will create a story in the backlog? Who will create a story in the backlog? Any team member can create the story in the backlog. Any team member can create the stories in the backlog. How many stories will create in the backlog? N number. How many pending tasks available in the project? Those many stories will be created. So story nothing but a task that we have to work on. All of you able to understand how to set up Jira and how to create a story in the backlog? All of you able to understand how to set up Jira and how to set up story in the Jira? Yes, let me share my screen for some time. I'm sharing my screen. Now you guys can see here, my screen is available. I logged in into my Atlassian account. I'm in the Jira tool now. I'm in the Jira. Click on create. So here it is asking what type of story that you want to create. So here I have some projects also in the Jira. Jira software is available. I'm in the Jira software. Projects are available here. View all projects, create project. I'm creating one project with a name, with a Scrum template. I'm going to create a project. Use this template. Select a team manager project. Add the project details, name of the project. I'm developing one project for Ashok IT student portal. I'm developing one application called Ashok IT student portal. It is Scrum template. Click on create the project. Now I'm creating a project in the Jira by using Scrum template. Why? Right. So once our project is created in the template, project template is created. So now my project name is Ashok IT student portal. For the students, I want to develop, for the students, I'm going to develop one portal. For that, we are created one project in the Jira. All right. So here guys, sprint is available. One sprint one is available, ASP sprint one. ASP nothing but Ashok ID student portal. In this sprint currently, 0 issues are available. In the backlog, 0 issues are available. Nothing is there. Now, in the team, what will happen? In the team, backlog grooming meeting will happen. Backlog grooming meeting will happen. Guys, whatever the subject that I am discussing, will you get this in the internet? Will anybody tell you like this? If you work in the company, then only you will understand this process. In the internet, nobody will explain you the real-time process. In the YouTube videos, in the internet, they will tell you what is that, what is this, but nobody will tell you how the people will work in the company like this. So if you miss these classes now, then you will face a lot of problems. Because in the company, will anybody tell you how to create a story in the Jira? Do you think that your manager will tell you how to create a story in the Jira? No. Nobody will tell you how to create the stories in the Jira. So this process you should know. How I am working in my project currently, how I am working in my company currently, same thing I am explaining. So same process will be there in the companies when you are working as a software engineer. Every software engineer should know how to work with Jira. It's a very basic fundamental tool that everybody should know. It is used for project management. Every day you will get the task from the Jira only. So that's why be careful when you are attending this Jira class. Good. So I created my account in the Atlassian company, and I logged in into this account. There I can access Bitbucket and Jira. Bitbucket already done. Now I am accessing Jira. I'm on the free plan. So limited features will be available when you go for the free plan. If you want more features, then you need to upgrade your plan. You need to go for enterprise plan and you need to purchase a Jira license. Okay. In the company, we will use enterprise version of Jira, but in the training, we are using trial version of Jira. So currently in this Jira tool, I created one project with a name called Ashok IT Student Portal. So in this project, currently nothing is available. Backlog is empty. Sprint is also empty. So what is backlog? Backlog nothing but pending stories. To identify all the pending stories in the project, a meeting will be conducted in the team. That meeting is called as backlog grooming meeting. So backlog grooming nothing but a meeting to identify pending tasks in the project. All right. Now, first go to backlog. There is no issue in the backlog. No, it is empty. Click on a issue. What needs to be done? Create GitHub repo for code integration. Create GitHub repo for code integration. One story I have created in the backlog. Then similarly, create project folder structure with required packages. So we need to create the Maven project and we need to create the packages in the project. So develop login screen, develop login screen, develop registration screen, develop registration screen, develop forgot password screen, develop forgot password screen in my project, develop forgot password screen in my project, implement exception handling, implement exception handling. All right. So now I have created several stories in the backlog. These all are the pending activities in the project. Implement unit testing. Implement unit testing. Right. Create a Docker file. Create a Docker file. Create Jenkins pipeline. Create Jenkins CI/CD pipeline. Deploy the application in the dev environment. Deploy app in dev environment. Okay. So like this, we are going to create several stories in the backlog. Who will create these stories in the backlog? These stories will be created by all the team members when backlog grooming meeting is going on. So what is the backlog grooming meeting? Backlog grooming, that is a meeting to identify pending tasks in the project. What is the story? A task that we have to work on. So like this, so many stories will be created in the backlog based on the requirements we got from the client. Based on the requirement we got from the client. Are you clear how to create a story in the backlog? Yes, I have created a story in the backlog. Now, for every story, one ID generated with the project key. My project name is Ashok IT Student Portal ASP. ASP1, ASP2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like this, we have created 10 stories in the backlog. So like this, 100 stories can be available. 200 stories also can be available in the backlog. For every 2 weeks, once backlog grooming meeting will happen, in that meeting, we are going to identify all the pending stories and we will create them in the backlog. So now, if you go to the story, you can edit the story. You click on the story number. You can see the story number ASP1, that is the story ID, story number. So this story currently does not have any label, does not belongs to any sprint, story point estimate. So whoever is creating the story, that person should have the estimation also. Estimation nothing but how much time this story will take to complete. GitHub repository for code integration. So GitHub repository creation generally DevOps team will do. Okay. So development team should send the request to the DevOps team to create the Git repository. So within 1 day, this story can be completed. So story points I'm giving as 3. So as I told you, in my project, story point definition, 3 means 1 day, 3 points means 1 day. So like this, I have given 3 points for the first story. So the story creation can be done by the team members. Whoever is creating that story, the team member only will give the story points for that. For the first story, I have given 3 points, means 1 day. Second story, ASP2, click on the story ID. If you scroll down here, story point estimate, for this also 3 points. Within 1 day, we can complete it. Then develop a login screen. So login screen development, testing, we need to do all that operations. So I'm giving 2 days for this functionality. So 2 days. I'm giving 2 days, nothing but 5 points I'm going to give like this. Develop registration screen. For this also 2 days. 2 days means 5 points. Forgot password, just 1 day. So I'm going to give 3 points for forgot password. Implement exception handling in the entire project. So it will take time to test all the functionalities. I'm giving 8 points, means 3 days of time it is going to take. Implement unit testing. Unit testing is also will take time. So I'm giving 8 points for this. Create the Docker file. It is just a 1 day task. How to deploy our application by using Docker. So to Dockerize our application, I'm giving 3 points. Jenkins CI/CD pipeline. The pipeline creation, pipeline execution will take 2 days of time. I'm giving 5 points. Deploy the application in the environment. In 1 day, we can do the deployment of the application. I'm giving 3 points for that. So like this, for every story, I have given story points. For every story, I have given story points. So total 10 stories available in the backlog. 44 story points available for all the 10 stories. Okay, how they will calculate? 10 days sprint, every day 3 story points. That means 10 into 3, 30. So each developer should complete 30 points in the sprint. Okay, how the Scrum Master will do the calculation for the sprint? Okay, how many team members available? There are 5 team members available. Per team member, how many story points can be completed? So 10 days sprint, every day 3 points, 3 points into 10 days, 30 points. So for each team member, 30 points. So 5 team members available, 5 into 30, 150 points we have to complete in one sprint. Like that calculation will happen. So if anybody is on the leave for 3 days, 9 points we have to minus. 3 into 3, 9 points. Out of 150, 9 points we have to minus. Okay. So each developer should complete 3 points per day. Each team member each team member should give 3 points per day. 3 points per day. Okay. So total 10 days. 10 days sprint. 10 days sprint multiplied by 3 points. So that means 30 points each resource. Each team member should give 30 points in one sprint. So total team members, total team size multiplied by 30. So that is our sprint goal. So what is our sprint goal? Like this calculation will happen. Every person should complete 3 points per day. One day, 3 points. 10 days in the sprint. So 10 into 3, 30 points for each member. 30 points for each member. So total team size, 5 members available. 5 into 30. So 5 3s are 150. All right, 150 points. That is our sprint goal. So in one sprint, we have to complete 150 points if a team size is 5. If a team size is 10, 10 into 30, 300 points we need to complete for one sprint. So out of these 10 people, so total team size is 10. 10 multiplied by 30, then total 300 points we have to complete in one sprint. If our team size is 10. Out of these 10 people, one person is on the leave for 3 days. It is a planned leave. Next 3 days, that person will not be available. 3 into 3, 9. So 300 minus 9 points we have to complete in one sprint. So like this, Scrum Masters will do is a calculation when they are going for sprint planning. When they are going for sprint planning, this kind of calculation will be there in the project. All right. So before going to do this, are you clear? What is the backlog and what is the story and what is the story points? Backlog grooming nothing but that is a meeting to identify pending stories in the project, pending tasks in the project. For every pending task, one story will be created. Story nothing but a task that we have to work on. For every story, one story ID will be available. It will be assigned by default by Jira. And for every story, we are giving the story points. So how to give the story points? So as a software engineer, you should have some estimation. What is this task? How much time this task will do? I mean, how much time this task will take to complete? That estimation you need to do and you need to give the story points. Now, we have created 10 stories in the backlog. So for 10 stories total, how many points are there? 44 points available. So who will create the story in the backlog? Any team member can create the story in the backlog. Whoever created that story, that person should give the estimation for the story completion also. Now, once this backlog grooming is completed in the project, sprint planning will happen. What is the sprint planning? That is also a meeting to prioritize backlog stories to work in the next sprint based on team capacity, based on team bandwidth. Okay, for next sprint, from tomorrow, we need to start the sprint. How many team members available? Anybody is taking the leave in the next 2 weeks of time? Scrum Master will check with all the team members. Hey Ashok, do you have any leave plan for the next 2 weeks? Hey Ramesh, do you have any leave plan for the next 2 weeks? Hey Ganesh, do you have any leave plan? Like this, leave plans will be available. Suppose for example, next week, I am going for some temple. For 3 days, I will not be available. I need to tell that in the sprint planning to the Scrum Master. Hey, I will not be available for 3 days in the Scrum, for the sprint. That means 3 days I will be on the leave. So that they will plan the sprint tasks according to that person leaves. Suppose for example, our team is 10 members. In the 10 members team, 3 people going on the leave for 1 week. Then can we complete 300 points? Not possible. So based on the team bandwidth, how many people are available? How many days they are available? Based on that, we need to plan what stories we need to complete, how many stories we need to complete. That is called sprint planning. So sprint planning is nothing but that is a meeting to prioritize backlog stories to work in the next sprint based on the team bandwidth. So how they will do the calculation? For each person, 3 points we have to complete. Each person 3 points per day. Now 10 days is sprint, 2 weeks is sprint. 2 weeks is nothing but 10 working days will be available. 10 days multiplied by 3 points per every day. So one person should complete 30 points in one sprint. So like this total team size is 10 members. 10 into 30, 300 points we have to complete in one sprint. For example, if one person is on the leave, 300 minus leave days. Like this, sprint planning will happen. So as part of the sprint planning, we'll prioritize the stories. Which stories we need to complete in the sprint up. Those stories we will move from backlog to sprint. Observe carefully how to move the stories from backlog to sprint up. It is just a drag and drop. Now, creating the Git repository, very important to start the project. Select the story, drag and drop in the sprint. Now, that story moved from backlog to the sprint. Creating the folder structure, very important. Select it and drop it. So, 2 stories I moved from backlog to sprint. That is called sprint planning. Which stories we need to complete? That we are going to identify. Now, develop the login screen, forgot password, exception handling, unit testing, pipeline. Pipeline creation is important. Okay, move that pipeline. Then login screen development, move that. Registration screen development, move that. Forgot password screen, move that. Drag and drop. Out of the 10 stories, 5 stories I have added to the sprint. 5 stories are still available in the backlog. So based on the team bandwidth, based on the team capacity, based on the number of working days in the sprint, we will plan stories in the sprint. So this calculation they will apply. One person should give 30 points. How many people available? Multiplied by 30. If 10 people, 300 points. Like this, they will plan the sprint. Once the stories are prioritized, then they will click on start sprint. Once they click on the start sprint, what is the name of the sprint? So this sprint name is sprint 1. Duration 2 weeks. If you want, you can customize that. Industry standard is 2 weeks only. They will keep the duration as 2 weeks. Sprint goal. As a team, we should complete all stories planned in this sprint. That is our sprint goal. What are the stories we have planned? Those stories we have to complete. Click on start. So with this, our sprint is started. Once the sprint is started, all the stories are in the to do. Nothing but they are pending. Nobody working on that. From the backlog, first we have created the stories in the backlog. From the backlog, we have moved the stories to the sprint. Now the sprint is started. Once the sprint is started, all the stories are available in to-do state. Nothing but somebody has to work on those stories. Now here, the most important thing is story assignment, task assignment. This task assignment also will change from project to project and company to company. In some companies, Scrum Master will assign the stories to the team members. Scrum Masters will assign the stories to the team members in some projects. In some projects, technical lead will assign the stories to the team members. In my project, nobody will assign the story for us. We all are individual contributors. We all are individual contributors. What is the meaning of individual contributor? Individual contributor, nothing but nobody will assign the task for us. We have to assign the task to ourselves because we all are experienced people. So we are working in the project from many years. So nobody will assign the task for us. So as a team, we discussed what are the pending activities in the project. We created the stories in the backlog. From the backlog, we have prioritized the stories and we created the sprint. Now our sprint is started. In our sprint, there are 5 stories available. In the real time, 30-40 stories will be available based on the team bandwidth. Now, every team member should go to Jira Sprint dashboard. See, there is one story. create GitHub repository. Okay, fine. I can work on this story. I will click on this story. I will click on this story ID and I will assign the story to me. Assign the story to me. It is assigned to me from to do. I will change the status to in progress. That's it. Now the story is moved from to do status to in progress status because I have assigned the story to my name and I have changed that story status. So whenever you want to work on that story, you take the story, you assign the story to your name, and you change the story status from to do to in progress. Now I am working on this story. It is a GitHub repository creation. In the real time, are we going to create the GitHub repository? DevOps team will create the GitHub repository. Are we going to create the GitHub repository? Are we going to create the GitHub repository or we will ask DevOps team to create the GitHub repository? Come on, guys. I will tell to DevOps team to create the GitHub repository. So once I send the request to the DevOps team, then I will go and edit the story and I will change the stories to done. Done means it is completed. When the story is completed, I will give you a comment. Git repo created. Git repo created. Repo URL. So whatever the URL you got from the DevOps team, you mention that URL and save the comment. And story status changed from in progress to done status. Now click on close. Now you see that story is moved from to do to in progress to done state. So this story got completed. Once my story completed, then I will take the next story and I will work on that. So in the Scrum call, what I will tell to the Scrum Master, hey Scrum Master, I have taken ASP1, that is my project story 1. I have taken the ASP1, which is related to GitHub repository creation. I have created the GitHub repository with the help of the DevOps team. My story is completed. I don't have any issue. I will take the another story today. So that is how I will give the update in the Scrum call. So once this Scrum call completed, I have some more time today to complete the day. I will go to second story, create the project structure, click on that story, then assign to me. You check it. Currently, it is not assigned to anyone. If it is assigned to anyone, you don't take it. So click on assign to me. So I'm going to work on from to do, change to in progress. Then story moved from to do status to in progress status I'm working on. So in the next Scrum call, I will tell, hi Scrum Master, I have taken ASP2, which is related to project creation with the folder structure. I'm working on that. Today it will be completed. I don't have any issues to proceed further. So like this, we will give the updates to the Scrum Master. First, we created the stories in the backlog. Then we moved the stories to the sprint. Once the sprint is started, we have assigned that story to our name. We will work on that story and we will change the story status. So with this, do you know how the story assignment will happen in the project? Nowadays, in the companies, everyone is working like an individual contributor. So nobody will assign the task to you, especially nowadays in the MNC companies. So this individual contribution is more. You are responsible for your work. You know what stories are pending. Go to Jira, check the sprint, currently which sprint is running and what stories are in the pending state, which you can work on. You assign to your name, you work on that, you complete it, and you give the update in the Scrum call. So in some projects, Scrum Master or our senior person will assign the stories to the people. In some projects, nobody will assign the stories. we have to assign the story to ourselves. So every day morning, once we start our work, go to Jira and check what stories are pending and which stories are not done by anyone, not assigned to anyone. You assign that story to your name, you work on that and give the updates. Give the updates to Scrum Master regarding what you are working on. Are you able to follow this? What is Jira and why we are going for Jira? In the company, they will provide you credentials to log in into the company Jira account. Projects will be available. In the company, you are responsible to create the stories in the backlog. Okay, so you can create the stories in the backlog. You can give the story points also. And Scrum Master will do the sprint planning, will prioritize the stories to complete. Once a sprint is started, you can assign the story to your name from the dashboard, which are in the to-do status, and you can start working on that. Once your story is completed, then you update the story status in the Jira and you give your work updates in the Scrum call, which story you are working on, what is the current status of the story, when it will be completed, do you have any issues, do you need any help, that you need to discuss in the Scrum call every day in the Scrum meeting. So you got the clarity how to work with Jira software. Are you guys clear with Jira? Story creation, what is story, what is the story point, what is the sprint planning, what is the sprint, what is the task assignment. In the real time also same process will be available. The one difference you can see in the real time, we are using trial version of Jira. In the company they will use licensed version of Jira. More advanced features will be available to generate the reports in the enterprise edition. Currently we are using trial version. Got it? What is Jira? Jira is a software which is developed by Atlassian company. Jira will be used as project management software. Using Jira, we can perform below activities like creating tasks in the Jira. Task nothing but story. Whenever you create a story, for every story, one story ID will be generated and assigning the tasks. Okay. So now suppose in my project, I'm the senior member. There are some freshers available. For the freshers, as a senior, I will assign the task. I will go to Jira. I will assign the task to them in the Jira. Okay. So testers will identify the bugs in the code. They can do the bug reporting. And we can generate the project status reports. So like this, you can play with the Jira's tool by using its trial version. Okay, cool. Now there are some stories available. Sprint is available. Currently in the sprint, there are 5 stories available. And in the 5 stories, one is completed, one is in progress, 3 are to do. Are you guys clear with my point? One story is done. Done means it is completed. And one story is in progress. Somebody is working on that. 3 stories are done state. I mean to do. That means they have not completed. And in the Jira, when the stories are available, you can create a epic for the stories. So what is the meaning of epic? Add the epic. Create your first epic, then add this issue to the epic. Epic is nothing but a label, guys. Epic is nothing but a label. Okay, so there are backlog stories available. So in the backlog stories, some stories are related to admin module, some stories are related to payments module. So there are 10 stories available. I want to group them. So to group the stories, we will use epics in the Jira. Okay. There are 5 stories are available. Now add, click on epic. Okay. Issue type, I want to create an epic. So what is the epic, right? So I'm giving the epic as dev epic, development activity, dev epic, status, something like this. Issue type is epic. Now select the label, start date, end date, something like this. Click on create. Now one epic is created. Now, so let me go here, click on epic, add ASP11 dev epic. So this story is related to development. This story also related to development. Okay. Now these are related to DevOps related stories like this. So epic is basically a label to group. Epic is basically a group. So now in the backlog, there are 100 stories are available. So out of the 100 stories, 20 stories are related to DevOps activity. Then I will create one epic and I will add the epic to 20 stories. So when I look at the story, I will understand, okay, this is related to development activity. This is related to development activity. Deployment. This is related to DevOps activity. Now go to the epic here. Currently there is no epic. Let me create one more epic here. Epic panel. Create epic. So what will be the epic will be called? Now I will be calling the epic as a DevOps epic. All right. So one dev epic and DevOps epic will be available. Now deploy the application in the dev environment. DevOps team should do this. Now, so when I look at the backlog, you will understand. So here epic. So epic panel is available. Epic panel is available. So when I click on dev epic, so only dev activities are displayed. When I click on DevOps epic, only DevOps tickets are displayed. So epic is basically for grouping, guys. Epic is basically for the grouping. If I select dev epic, only the stories belongs to dev epic will be displayed. If I select DevOps epic, the stories belongs to DevOps epic will be displayed. So if I select issues without epic, then all the stories will be displayed. So now tell me, what is the meaning of epic in the Jira? Can you tell me what is the meaning of epic in the Jira? Can I say epic is used to group the stories? Guys, can I say epic is used to group the stories in the Jira? Yes, epic is used to group the stories. It is for categorizing. It is like giving the label. It is like giving the labels so that easily we can identify these stories belongs to which category. To categorize the stories in the Jira, we are going to create the epic and we will add the epic to the stories. DevOps related stories, development related stories, testing related stories, we can prioritize. We can categorize by using epics. Good. Now look at this terminology. Backlog grooming, a meeting to identify pending tasks in the project. Story, a task that we have to work on. For every story, ID will be generated automatically by the Jira. So in the Scrum call, you need to tell story number which you are working on. And story points, it represents the duration to complete the story. Sprint planning, a meeting to prioritize the backlog stories to work in the next sprint based on the bandwidth. So sprint up, fixed set of stories that we agreed to complete in the sprint duration. For sprint, generally 2 weeks duration will be available. Scrum, so daily meeting to provide work updates to the Scrum Master. What are you working on? When it will complete? Any issues? Any help required? That we are going to discuss. Retrospective, it is a review meeting to discuss what went well, what went wrong, lessons learned, improvements. Okay. To manage our project work in the companies, we are using Jira. Jira we are using as a project management software. It is developed by Atlassian company. Using Jira, we can create the stories, we can assign the stories, we can report the bugs, and we can take the project status reports. Right? Now, here we are using Jira trial version. In the company, we will use licensed version of Jira. So you can go to the dashboards, view all the dashboards, you can create the dashboard. So all the dashboard options will be available, assigned to me. What are the stories that are assigned to me? What are the projects available? What are the projects available? So you can check all the stories which are assigned to your name. What are the stories which are assigned to your name? You can check all the stories in the Jira. So dashboards will be available, filters will be available, number of projects in the Jira, teams will be available, invite people to the Jira, create a team in the Jira, Jira apps will be available. Okay, so many advanced features will be there in the Jira. Clear? Good. Now, if you want to create a bug, create issue type of bug. So when the tester testing your functionality, they identified a bug. So they will select the project. They will select the issue type as a bug. So do you want to create the story or bug or epic? They can create the bug and they can report the bug. They will assign the bug to the developer. So which developer working on that functionality, they will assign the bug to that particular developer. So bug reporting also will happen in the Jira tool. All right. So now in the company, they will provide the credentials to log in into the company Jira account. Company will purchase license to Jira. So in that Jira, you can create the stories. You can participate in the backlog grooming. You can participate in the sprint planning. You can assign the story to yourself. You can work on the story and you can complete the story. Once the story is completed, you can change the story status. Once the story is completed, you can change the story status. So every day we need to check our Jira dashboard and we need to see what stories are pending, and you can assign the story to your name and you can work on that story. Clear? So now, as a fresher, are you going to work with Jira in the project, or only experienced people will work with the Jira software? As a fresher, are you going to work with Jira, or only experienced people will work with Jira? Freshers also will work with the Jira. Every team member, whether you are a fresher or whether you are an experienced person, you need to use the Jira. Got my point? Perfect. So now I hope you got the clarity on all these topics. Now you got the clarity on all these topics. What is SDLC? What are the phases? What is waterfall? What is agile? Agile terminology and working with Jira. All right. Now, all of you, I'm giving 5 minutes of time. You create stories in the backlog and you create the sprint and add the stories to the sprint. 5 minutes. Then after, we will go for the doubts clarification. So all of you open the Jira tool, create the stories in the backlog, add the stories to the sprint. Then any doubts, you can discuss with me. 5 minutes. Let's do the practice now itself. It is a class work. Start the practice. After 5 minutes, I will take your doubts. First, create the stories in the backlog, add the stories to the sprint, and assign the stories to your name. Give the story points also. 5 minutes time. Let's start, guys. Practice Jira now. Practice Jira tool. Class work. 5 minutes. You can complete all the things. Let's start. I will be back in 5 minutes. Hi, guys. Are you able to do the practice now? Are you guys able to do the practice now? And in the Jira, whenever someone assign the task to your name, you will get the email notification by default. And whenever tester assign the bug to your name, then you will get the notification. So Jira will send the email notifications by default for the task change. So whenever someone is assigned the task to you, you will get the email from the Jira. When the tester assign the task to you, you will get the email. So once your task is completed, then you need to give the comment for that task. So I have shown you how to add the comment as well. So there will be a comment option. So once your story is completed, then you just go there and add a comment. That's it. All right. Now, anybody having any questions on the Jira? You can unmute and you can ask me. Anybody having any questions on the Jira? You can unmute and you can ask me.
Sir, we can create more than 3 sprints.
Sir, any number of sprints you can create, sir. Now you see that in my project currently, 1 sprint is available, right? So you can see that the number of sprints available, 1 sprint is available. You can create multiple sprints also. So there is a sprint which is already in the running state. Once this sprint is completed, then you can click on the next sprint. So you can add any stories in the backlog and the sprint is started. The sprint will be completed by 16 September. Then you can create one more sprint as well. Got it?
Who is responsible to create the sprint, sir?
Scrum Master will create the sprints.
Okay.
As a team member, we will create the stories in the backlog. And once the sprint is completed, once sprint is going to complete, then sprint planning meeting will happen. Scrum Master will create the sprint. Scrum Master will add the stories to the sprint. He will prioritize the stories.
Hi Ashok. In general, how many environments are there in real-time project?
I will explain about environments. Sir, currently we did not discuss about. When we go for Jenkins, I will tell you how many environments will be there in the real.
Okay.
Yeah, hi, Ashok.
Hello. Yeah, hi
Yeah,
guys.
after starting this sprint, can we remove the stories from this sprint if it
In
is
the
not
Jira,
useful?
in the Jira, by default, delete option will not be available for the stories. Okay. So in the company, they will remove that access for you. Once the story is added to the sprint, you cannot delete that.
Okay, then how can we complete this sprint? The story
Once
points won't complete, right?
these stories are available, you can complete the stories in the sprint. Suppose, for example, this sprint is ending by 16 September. By 16 September, 2 stories are not completed. Then those stories will be moved to the next sprint. Whichever the stories are not completed, those stories will be moved to the next sprint. If any pending activities are there in the present sprint, those will be moved to the next sprint. Scrum Master will do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, how to add a story in Epic, sir?
Just you go here, there is an option called plus epic. So here story is there. First you create the epic. Once the epic is created, then you can select the epic. What are the epics available? You can add.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Then epic is added to this story.
What is the difference between the story and the task? So, the options here.
Sorry?
What is the difference between the task and the story?
Sir, both are same, sir. Story and task. Here they have given different thing. Story and task separately. Some people will, mostly we will call them as stories, not the task. Every task will be represented as one story. Okay. So terminology will be different.
Yeah, hi, Ashok. There is a question in interviews that in overall of your career, how many sprints you have done in your project? What we need to answer for that?
Sir, how can we remember?
Yes,
I'm working
actually,
in I'm working in the company from 3 years. If you ask me how many sprints you have completed, how I will know that? I can't remember. No?
yes, it's true, but they are not satisfying with that answer even.
Then you can tell that your sprint version. So
Okay.
currently my sprint 1 is there. Na? You can see the versioning for the sprint. You can tell that. So I am working in the project from the last 2 years. My current sprint version is this.
Okay, sir.
So in company, we will work every day in Jira and GitHub parallelly.
Correct. So whatever the tools we discussed, Jira every day we will use, GitHub every day we will use, Maven every day we will use. These are daily using tools for the developers.
Ashok Amrish here.
Yeah, hi sir.
So some of the projects I have seen directly from this Git or Bitbucket, we can trigger to this Jira storyboard.
Correct.
So
You can integrate the
do we
Bitbucket
need
and Jira.
do we need to just integrate those things from here, or by default we get the option to open with Bitbucket or Bitbucket
Directly,
Bitbucket to
directly you
Bitbucket.
will get the option, sir. In the company, you will have a single sign-on with the company URL. You can access all the tools.
And every quarter, like sprint start from first digit.
Correct. So anything sprints, when the sprint is going to start and all that specific to project, sir. I can't give you a static answer for that. Once you joined in the project, now you will understand the process.
Yes,
Hi,
sir.
so can I create a column for testing or something, just like to do and in progress? Can I create more columns?
Yes, statuses you can change, administration option you can do. So such kind of status creations and all more options will be there in the enterprise version. By default, we are getting 3 statuses, right? To do, in progress, and done. So we can say status as rejected, testing, in progress. You can create more columns, more statuses, and in the enterprise version, you have that customization options.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, sir. What is the difference between sprint and PI?
Sir, PI nothing but a program initiative. For every quarter, one PI will be available. PI nothing but what we need to do in the quarter that will be discussed in the PI. PI stands for program initiative. In one PI, multiple sprints will be available.
Can we answer how many sprints will be available in one PI?
So you take that. For example, 15 days one sprint, 2 weeks a sprint, monthly 2 sprints. Quarter means 4 months, right?
Yeah.
Then
Okay.
quarter means 3 months or 4 months.
3 months.
3 months quarter. Then 3 into 2, 6 sprints will be there.
Okay.
Hi, sir. What is the exact difference between release and sprint?
Release and sprints are one sprint nothing but 2 weeks tasks. Release nothing but, so every 2 weeks we don't give the release for the client. Release means basically development plus testing plus deployment is called as a release. For multiple sprints we will do one release. Suppose for example, I have completed 2 months of work by using 4 sprints. So whatever we have done in the 4 sprints, we will give one release to the client. Instead of delivering the project every 2 weeks, generally what people will do, so 2 sprints for development, 1 sprint for testing, 1 sprint for integration testing, 4 sprints they will take. For 4 sprints, whatever the work they have completed, they will release that code to the client. That is called one release. One release can contain multiple sprints.
Okay, yeah.
Because within 2 weeks, we can complete only 1 or 2 functionalities. Instead of that, if I combine 4 to 5 sprints, then some functionalities can be completed. All the functionalities I can deliver to the client at a time. That is called one release.
And what is Azure board also similar to Jira board?
That is different, sir. Azure board is different. Jira board is different. Jira board is purely for the project management.
Okay. Then what about the Azure? Does
I
it
have no
have
idea.
Okay.
Azure board is different. That is for deployment activities. All right. Perfect, guys. Good. So with this, we completed our discussion related to SDLC, Waterfall, Agile, and Jira. Thank you. So tomorrow, Sunday, we don't have JRTP class. We have the next JRTP class on Monday. Monday at regular time, 9 a.m. Our class is going to start. Thank you, guys. Happy weekend. We'll see you on Monday.